Today I'm going to talk about women, domestic abuse, and leaving your spouse and leaving an abusive relationship. Many people, if you haven't been through domestic abuse, you're not going to understand the fact that it takes a woman almost 7 times to completely leave her husband if he's abusive. They keep going and leaving, threatening and leaving, but they just keep going back and back. And a lot of people who haven't gone through abuse don't know why. Because as soon as a woman comes to them and says, hey, my husband is abusing me, and they say, you need to leave. And when the woman says they're going to leave and then they don't leave, they don't understand. But they don't realize that leaving is very hard for most abused women. And one of the reasons is that it is hard. A lot of them are not going to leave because they're scared. Mostly they're scared, not that the man will even hurt her, but she's embarrassed, she's scared of leaving because she's scared of the unknown. A lot of abused women have been through, controlling of the mind. They've been controlled. They've been told they're not good enough. They can't succeed by themselves. So they're so scared of the world out there. The fear of the world has been put out there on them. So they are so scared of leaving because they don't know what's out there. And they've been living with a man who's been telling them, you can't do it, you can't do it. And then on top of that, a lot of them also don't leave because of the children. They're scared of having to deal with the children by themselves. Here's a case, most of the abusers, sometimes they're able to take care of the kids. They're able to provide for them. But they're abusive, but they're the providers, because a lot of abusive men, their women either don't work, or even if they work, they don't work much, so their income is not even enough. So definitely, if you tell a woman to leave, she's gonna be scared. So then another reason is also because family. They just especially with Africans and African Americans, it's an embarrassing thing to leave your husband. It's family will, if you go and tell your family that you're being abused, they'll believe you. But if you start talking about it, they'll say, oh no, you do not need to put people out there. Because a lot of women who are in abusive relationship, they hold on to the anger and the pain that they've been going through. So sometimes they lash out. When they're ready to really, for it to come out, they lash out. You find that a woman may go out on a rampage on Facebook about her spouse. And everybody in the family will be like, oh my God, why are you putting yourself out there? Why are you putting family out there? So, you shouldn't be putting family business out there, even so they don't know how to handle it. Instead of trying to find out, hey, this woman is lashing out, man, we need to believe her. They're mostly trying to protect the integrity of the abuser. So a lot of women, they end up not talking to family, and they're scared of family telling them not to do anything, so they don't want to leave. Then another reason is finances. You don't have money. How are you going to leave when you've not been saving money? These abusers, they're very controlling and manipulative. So most of the money, if you've been saving, you've not saved enough, and you're scared of how you're going to pay your bills. But emotionally, most people who are in abusive relationship are not ready to leave when you think they should be ready. When they call you and tell you they want to leave, you can tell them to leave, but don't be surprised if they don't leave. And that's why if you go to the shelter, most shelters or most abuse like organizations that deal with abuse, they'll tell them that they need to get an exit plan. An exit plan is like trying to they start working on that plan while they're in that relationship. Some organizations will offer support groups, outreach support groups, whereby even though they're in a relationship, they still can come and talk about what's going on at home, because that's where they're able to give them the tools for when they're ready, to build their confidence and to help them realize that, hey, this woman, she's not ready, but a lot of times most people think a woman should be ready, and I tell people, no, a lot of times they're not. So my advice is, if a woman is in an abusive relationship and she's not ready to leave, is find an outreach service that can actually, you can be going for support groups. If they don't have any in your area, find some counseling. And normally the shelters, even if you're not able to go to the shelter, they'll have they can direct you some kind of counseling so that you're able to start being ready to leave. Because being ready to leave is not easy, because a lot of times the woman loves the abuser. So a lot of times there's always that honeymoon period. He cussed me out, he told me to leave, he told me I'm ugly. But she's not really ready to leave. How is she gonna leave? She's not ready to leave, even though the man cast her out and told her all these things, because she loves the guy. Because the honeymoon period, after cussing you out, they'll be telling you, oh, I love you, baby, oh, I'll do this, or I'll fix your green card, or I'll do your papers, or I'll do this for you, or I'll buy you the things you want, or I'll do this, everything that he's been saying he's gonna do. I'll be nicer, I'll buy you flowers and all this, and he might even buy the flowers and everything. So the honeymoon period, it'll last, some of it will last a long time, and then it goes back to square one, because if he doesn't get help, and if he doesn't realize that what he's doing is bad, he will definitely continue doing it. So that confuses the person who is abused. So they keep on thinking he's going to change. They'll say, oh, he's going to change, he promised he's going to change. And his mother talked to him, his father talked to him, they talked to us, the pastor talked to him, so he's going to change. And then it goes back again to square one, Then now they're embarrassed to go back again to you to ask you for help, because you already had maybe even tried to find a place for them to go, and then they said no. So there's many, many, many reasons why women don't leave, and why they don't leave when you, who is helping them, think they should leave. I believe that we should have patience for people who are in abusive relationships. And anybody who tells, some of them, I have women who called me, maybe have called me maybe months ago and told me, they're going through domestic abuse, they're going through the husband, is abusing them. And of course, I do tell them, pray with them and just tell them how a good relationship should be, and how the guy should treat her, and if he's not treating her like that. But then I also tell them that it is up to them if they want to leave. I do not really tell you have to leave your man, because if you tell a woman to leave and they're not ready to leave, they're not going to leave. They're going to leave and come back, because they were not ready emotionally to leave. You told them to leave, so they go pack their things, then they go to the shelter, and then they start panicking. They start panicking because the man starts calling them, say, oh, you're going to make me lose my job, or you're going to do this, or please don't do this, I'm going to help you, man, So she starts getting confused and panicking. She starts saying, oh, man, don't, I love you, and all these things. And because her self-esteem and everything about her, kind of with her and the guy are inseparable. So definitely she starts getting confused, and she's going to go back. So I believe that I always tell the women that you will leave when you're ready to leave. That means you will leave when the abuse has reached to a point when you yourself are ready to leave. Because I can't make you leave. You know, you are most of them are adults. How are you going to tell them, hey, you got to leave? You can't make them stay at the shelter. You can't make them deal with the programs, because even at the shelter, they have to work the program. That means they have to go and look for a job if they were not working. They have to go and register their kids in school. They have to go do some stuff. If you told her to leave and she wasn't ready, she's depressed in the shelter, she's just sitting there like, oh my God, the guy is calling her, and she's not ready to work the program. She's not ready to, because you can't go to the shelter and expect that, hey, they're going to find me a place to live. Hey, they're going to make me, they're going to find me housing. I'm going to be in housing. Even with housing, there are rules that needs to be done. That means you're not going to bring the abused man in that house. Most of the time, you're not going to bring a man in that house. So if the abused person is not even ready to let go, she's going to fail at the programs that are made to help abused women. They have to be ready to work the program. They have to be ready to leave the abuse. They have to be ready. And how do they get ready? They have to get counseling. Support group. They have to kind of so if she's not going through counseling, the chances of her regressing back or going back to her abuser is very high. You know, so my advice to people who are in abusive relationship is that you really need to be, there's patience. There has to be patience and counseling and support group, you know, and they also have to be around people, be able to say no to people who are supporting that lifestyle. You know, here you are, you're in an abusive relationship, you still have the same friends who have been seeing you abused, who do not think abuse is you're being abused, and then so sometimes it takes an abused woman for her to completely leave. It takes her leaving her friends, leaving your family. You meaning stepping away from your family. That means you don't, you know, because if your mother-in-law does not see that the son is being abusive, and then your sister-in-law, your friend, sometimes it takes that, and that's why I feel that the ones who have been very, very successful have been people who have become independent in their mind and decided, hey, I'm gonna go to the domestic abuse place, and I'm gonna have to work with them, and that takes a lot of courage. So if you see a woman who has gone to the shelter, because a lot of them have families, they have sisters and brothers, cousins, somebody around, but they choose not to go there because they realize that, man, me going to my cousin's place is not going to help me. I mean, she can help me, give me a ride to work, but I need more than a ride to work. I need more than a place to live. I need my mind to be ready to leave this abusive situation. I have to understand why I'm being abused. But all that doesn't play in a woman who's being abused, because for her, there's the music that's playing in her ear is the music that the husband has been playing in her ear. That means, you know, you're not good enough, you can't succeed. So they doubt themselves. So the support we can give these women is to direct them to experts. And sometimes they may not even be ready to go to those experts, because, hey, you tell a woman that, hey, we need to call the abuse shelter. They hear the word shelter and they go crazy. It's like, I don't want to, like, I have one lady who I was trying to call for her shelter because, of course, she wanted to go to the shelter. But I could tell that she was scared of the word shelter. She kept on thinking homeless shelter. Hey, why should I can't go to a homeless shelter with my kids. Or it's not they're going to a domestic abuse shelter, but they don't even understand the difference, because the shelters that they see on TV is where there's men and they hear rapes. They hear the worst about it. And most probably the abuser has already told them, hey, you want to go to the shelter with your kids? You go there. You'll be raped. You'll be done this. So they've heard all the worst things. So they're scared. My advice is, if there is an outreach service, I think that works best. They can be going for counseling or going even a church that kind of offers support groups, like that. So you can go talk about it without having to leave your husband when you're not ready to, because leaving your husband when you're not ready is just, you're already going to fail before it's going to be failure to launch. It's not going to launch. You're going to have the plan, but you won't leave. You'll keep on. And a lot of women end up leaving when the situation is so bad. They've either fought and they've gone to jail, or they've fought and they've the man is hurt or she's hurt. So, or the police comes and says one of you needs to leave. And a lot of times it might be you who has to leave the abused woman. So the thing is, a lot of them, they end up leaving because they're forced to leave. To leave. You're forced to leave because the man starts calling the police on you and starts playing with your fears and everything. So a lot of times they don't leave because they want to tell a woman to just leave and go to the shelter. A lot of them leave because they're forced to leave. They're forced. They had a fight, and the police said one of you have to go, or the man says you. She gets enough abuse, like verbal abuse. So she says, man, I need to leave. So a lot of times they don't even leave because they want to leave. They leave because the situation forces them. They have children who are now being affected and talking about it. They have the school pressuring them out. CPS is now involved. So now they have to leave. Whether they like it or not, they have to try and work a program, or they're losing their children. Then they'll leave. So, well, that's my 2 cents on domestic abuse. I hope it does help somebody. All I'm trying to tell you here is that if you are in an abusive relationship, if you feel that you're being abused and you're not ready to leave, the best advice I can give you is start going for counseling, at least. And if the best place to find counseling, or the best counselors that deal with domestic abuse, is called the local shelters out there, and ask them for a counseling program or something that works with domestic abuse, so that you're able to deal with it and know what to do. Get yourself a plan to leave. They call it an exit plan. So work an exit plan. And know where your documents are, know where you can go to school, know where your support system is, because sometimes you do not want to leave, but because the situation will force you. So you don't want to leave because you're scared, but sometimes you're forced to leave. That means the man has said he doesn't want you. He said he's been abusing you, he's the one who's been hitting you. The police is called, you're told to go. Sometimes he's the one who calls the police on you, yet he's the one who hit you. So you're forced to leave. So for me, I always advise people to get an exit plan, not even an exit plan, but get a plan in place that if this happens, what am I going to do? Even if you're not ready, but you know that you're already in a bad situation, the situation is unhealthy for your kids, you start working on a plan way before it gets worse. So this is Lillian Stevens again. Just follow me on YouTube and like my subscribe, because I'll be talking about a lot about this domestic abuse. I'll talk about VOWR and all those stuff that can help you. So you guys have a good day. This is Lillian Stevens. May God bless you. And another thing, pray about it. If you're a Christian, whatever faith you have, pray about it and trust God in what God is going to direct you to do. Remember that abuse as a Christian, love is not supposed to hurt, you know. And even though, and a lot of times, the people who are abusing are actually are Christians too, so that can confuse you. But that should not make you feel like you can't ask for help from your pastor. If your pastor is not able to help you, you can find, they're human, you know, meaning they don't know everything. Some of them have not experienced it. Find help somewhere else, you know, but do not stay on abuse because of religion. Do not stay in abuse because you feel like, you know, divorce is not allowed and all that. Divorces will embarrass your family. No. If it hurts, and if it's hurting you, if you've gone through your counseling, you've gone through all those things, you've tried to get the help you can, and it's not working, please seek the help you need. Call the National Domestic Abuse Hotline. And whatever state you are, they will direct you for the services that you want. So go online, look for National Domestic Hotline, and find for resources in your neighborhood. Otherwise, again, this is Lillian Stevens. Thank you. I am my sister's keeper. God bless you. So today I'm going to talk about women, domestic abuse, and leaving your spouse and leaving an abusive relationship. Many people, if you haven't been through domestic abuse, you're not going to understand the fact that it takes a woman almost 7 times to completely leave her husband if he's abusive. They keep going and leaving, threatening and leaving, but they just keep going back and back. And a lot of people who haven't gone through abuse don't know why. Because as soon as a woman comes to them and says, hey, my husband is abusing me, and they say, you need to leave. And when the woman says they're going to leave and then they don't leave, they don't understand. But they don't realize that leaving is very hard for most abused women. And one of the reasons is that it is hard. A lot of them are not going to leave because they're scared. Mostly they're scared, not that the man will even hurt her, but she's embarrassed, she's scared of leaving because she's scared of the unknown. A lot of abused women have been through, you know, controlling of the mind. They've been controlled. They've been told they're not good enough. They can't succeed by themselves. So they're so scared of the world out there. The fear of the world has been put out there on them. So they are so scared of leaving because they don't know what's out there. And they've been living with a man who's been telling them, you can't do it, you can't do it. And then on top of that, a lot of them also don't leave because of the children. You know, they're scared of having to deal with the children by themselves. Here's a case, most of the abusers, sometimes they're able to take care of the kids. They're able to provide for them. But they're abusive, but they're the providers, you know, because a lot of abusive men, their women either don't work, or even if they work, they don't work much, so their income is not even enough. So definitely, if you tell a woman to leave, she's gonna be scared. So then another reason is also because family. They just you know, especially with Africans and African Americans, it's an embarrassing thing to leave your husband. It's family will, if you go and tell your family that you're being abused, I mean, they'll believe you. But if you start talking about it, they'll say, oh no, you do not need to put people out there. Because a lot of women who are in abusive relationship, they hold on to the anger and the pain that they've been going through. So sometimes they lash out. When they're ready to really, for it to come out, they lash out. You find that a woman may go out on a rampage on Facebook about her spouse. And everybody in the family will be like, oh my God, why are you putting yourself out there? Why are you putting family out there? So you shouldn't be putting family business out there, even so they don't know how to handle it. Instead of trying to